Is Pakistan a republic, an Islamic state either? Pakistan was founded in 1947 as a homeland for Muslims of the Indian subcontinent, and its very name derived from Pak, meaning pure, and Stan, land of, reflects its Islamic identity. Officially, it is the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, a title that suggests a blend of democratic governance and Islamic principles. But when we look beyond the name, a deeper and more critical question arises: how truly Islamic is Pakistan in its social, cultural, and economic life? And how much of a republic does it function as in practice? To begin with, a republic means a system where power rests with the people, exercised through elected representatives. In theory, Pakistan has a parliamentary democracy with a constitution, elected leaders, and institutions meant to uphold the rule of law. However, in reality, the country has experienced long periods of military rule, direct or indirect, since its independence. This undermines the very essence of a republic, where civilian authority and democratic processes should be supreme. Even when elections are held, concerns about fairness, transparency, and manipulation raise doubts about how representative the government truly is. So, while Pakistan has the structure of a republic, its democratic functioning has often been weak, inconsistent, and interrupted. Now, turning to the Islamic part of its identity, Pakistan's constitution declares Islam as the state religion and requires that all laws be consistent with Islamic teachings. The country has Islamic institutions like the Council of Islamic Ideology, which advises on religious matters, and it uses Islamic terminology in official discourse. Public holidays, education, and media often emphasize Islamic values. But how deeply does Islam shape the everyday life and values of the nation? Socially, many Pakistani communities follow Islamic traditions: prayer, fasting during Ramadan, charity, zakat, and family customs rooted in Islamic teachings. Mosques play a central role in community life, especially in rural areas. Religious festivals like Eid are widely celebrated. However, there are also widespread social practices that contradict Islamic principles. For example, Islam promotes justice, equality, and compassion, yet discrimination based on class, gender, and ethnicity remains common. Honor killings, and domestic violence, though un-Islamic, still occur in some regions. The treatment of women, despite some progress, often falls short of Islamic ideals of dignity and rights. In many areas, girls are denied education, and women face restrictions on mobility and decision-making, which goes against the spirit of Islam, which granted women rights centuries ago. Generally, a real Muslim, so does a Muslim society, should embody honesty, humility, compassion, and justice. Social and personal lives are most important to be imbued with justice. But we normally see lack of justice in every sphere of life in Pakistan. Here people cannot control anger, do not keep promises, respects others, and avoid harm. Faith is not reflected in character, in gentle speech, and are not firm in morals, and committed to truth, mercy, and service to humanity, regardless of faith or background. Unfortunately, we find lack of personal Islamic traits in Pakistan's social and individual life. Culturally, Pakistan has a rich blend of regional traditions, Punjabi, Sindhi, Baloch, Pashtun, and others, that predate Islam and coexist with it. While Islamic values influence music, art, and literature, there is also tension between religious conservatism and cultural expression. At the same time, popular culture often blends Islamic themes with local customs in ways that are more cultural than strictly religious. So, while Islam is a strong cultural force, it is not the only one, and the interpretation of what is Islamic varies widely across regions and communities. Economically, Islam promotes fairness, discourages exploitation, and emphasizes helping the poor through zakat and sadaqah, charity. Yet, Pakistan struggles with deep economic inequality, corruption, and lack of social justice. While zakat is collected through a state system, its distribution is often inefficient and politicized. Many poor people do not benefit from it, and the tax system remains weak. The economy is dominated by a small elite, and labor rights are often ignored. Interest-based banking, which is prohibited in Islam, remains the norm in the financial system. Although some Islamic banking options exist, they are a small part of the overall economy. Thus, while Islamic economic principles are taught and discussed, they are not effectively implemented in national policy or daily economic life. In education, Islamic content is included in school curricula, and many children attend madrasas, religious schools. However, the quality and message of this education vary greatly. Some madrasas provide valuable religious instruction and community support, but others have been criticized for promoting narrow, rigid, or even extremist views. The mainstream education system often focuses more on rote learning than critical thinking, and religious education can sometimes emphasize ritual over moral and ethical development. As a result, many young people grow up with a limited or distorted understanding of Islam, one that may stress outward symbols more than inner values like tolerance, humility, and service. Moreover, the idea of Pakistan as an Islamic state has sometimes been used more for political purposes than spiritual ones. Leaders have invoked Islam to gain legitimacy, justify policies, or unite people across ethnic lines. This instrumental use of religion can lead to the enforcement of religious laws not out of genuine faith, but for control or popularity. For example, blasphemy laws, though rooted in religious education, have often been misused to settle personal scores or target minorities. Religious minorities, Christians, Hindus, Ahmadis, and others, face discrimination and sometimes violence, which contradicts the Islamic principle of protecting the rights of all people, regardless of faith. So, where does this leave us? Pakistan is undoubtedly shaped by Islam. The majority of its people are Muslim. Islamic symbols and practices are visible everywhere, and religious identity plays a major role in public life. But being Islamic is not just about names, flags, or laws, it is about living by Islamic values in a consistent and sincere way. Justice, mercy, honesty, humility, and care for the poor are central to Islam, and by these measures, Pakistan still has a long way to go. Similarly, being a republic is not just about having a president or parliament, it is about ensuring that power comes from the people, that institutions are independent, and that every citizen has equal rights and opportunities. While Pakistan has made efforts in this direction, democratic backsliding, military influence, and weak governance have weakened its republican character. Pakistan does carry the name of an Islamic republic, but the reality is more complex. It is neither fully a functioning republic nor fully living up to Islamic ideals in its social, cultural, and economic life. There is a gap between ideals and practice. To become more truly Islamic, Pakistan needs to focus less on religious symbolism and more on justice, compassion, and ethical living. To become a stronger republic, it needs to strengthen democracy, protect human, Islamic rights, and ensure that all citizens, regardless of religion, gender, or class, can participate equally in national life. The journey toward living up to its name is ongoing, and it requires honesty, courage, and commitment from all its people.